Hi, welcome back to 16 RC Tank Workshop. I'm John. Today we're going to be looking at Tiger 312. This is a late model Armortek Tiger, production year 2007. I bought this as a used model which had been started. It was never completed, but it needed complete stripping down and rebuilding. Paint was in a very bad state and there was some corrosion. So I completely stripped it down and started again, but it came up like a new kit. It also came with all electronic options: motion, sound, smoker, blank firer, radio controller, receiver and batteries, and a lot of books as well. First, I'm going to try to get the motion pack working, and following on from that, I'll see how we go with the sound package and maybe then the smoker. As I said, I didn't keep the blank firer as it's quite a dirty item to have inside the vehicle, especially since I like to have a lot of interior detail. First thing to do will be to bench test the electronics. The electronics items have never been used. They've been just in storage since 2007. I've used the batteries a couple of times, but not much, so we'll see how the batteries fare as well after all this time. Paintwork is almost complete, but it needs a few touch-ups and repairs here and there, and a few additional parts still to be added. But let's see if we can make this one a runner. So let's get to the workbench. So the first thing you need to do is refer to your manuals. So this manual is for the Tiger 1 late production motion pack assembly instructions, and the other is for the firing mechanism, the smoke unit, sound unit, electrical wiring. So today we'll be tackling the motion pack, sound unit, maybe the smoke unit. The firing mechanism I don't have anymore. It was an impressive piece of equipment, but I just had no use for it, and possibly wouldn't be able to use it in my country anyway. There's very tight laws on pyrotechnics. But first of all, let's look at the motion pack. It lists the various functions and items in it. It also tells you in written form how to connect it, but there's very little pictures wise of how to connect the wiring. I'm not an electronics expert, so let's see how I get on. I've read the instructions thoroughly. As you can see, I've underlined a few sections and even drawn myself some diagrams just to try to get it straight in my own head. So for anybody familiar with this 2007 version of the motion pack, I have messed around with the boxes a little bit. This was originally a black box, but just to go along with more the current Armortek style, I've repainted it in a red colour. Also, the power loom for the turret, I've made a separate box for that. It houses the wiring loom, which originally was just a series of wires and connectors, which is very messy in the vehicle. So I've made my own box, and all the cable connectors I've changed to, I think they're called XT60s. So all of the cables and all of the charging cables, everything is running on XT60s now. And the box houses a lot of what was previously just loose wiring. Here we have the main fuse box. This is what connects up to the battery, and also has the on-off button at the side here. It's just a momentary press to make that work, and then you should get a green light. This box contains what they call the turret subloom. It connects the turret mounted items. This loom also has the power connections for the other functions of the vehicle, such as smoker, fan, and also the turret rotation motor takes its power from here. The turret rotation motor connects via this electron-eyes FR12 unit. Here we have the interface unit 4QD DMR203. This unit connects via these cables to the electronic speed controllers, the two 4QD Vortex 40 speed controllers. They have a black and red power supply and then a yellow and blue supply to the motors. Here we have the main drive motors. It's a pair of EMD PM60 geared motors, and they're fitted with 1/4-inch spade terminals. They connect to the yellow and blue wires from the VTX 40s. Thanks for watching. I hope if you have one of these older electronics units for an Armortek tank that you'll find this helpful. At the end of the video, I'll show you how I went about putting the spring tension in the second lever fitting the Futaba spring kit. Please remember to support the channel by hitting that subscribe button, and any comments are welcome. If you have any questions about fitting the electronics, please leave a comment. I've labelled all the cables just so they know what they are. Turret subloom, item 4 in the instructions, so everything is labelled in that way. This cable here would connect to the sound unit. So here we have the cables from the left and right VTX 40 entering the fuse box. These are the higher voltage connections, and these two go to the battery. Next one connects up to the sound system. The next one connects up to the turret subloom. Here we have a receiver. I'm using an old Futaba. This small wire coming from the fuse box is the power to the receiver, and I have plugged into channel 7/8. From the electronic switch unit 48B2W, there is a black, white and red connector, and I have that plugged into channel 6. That's for turret elevation. From the FR12 unit, there is also a receiver cable which is for the turret rotation. That is plugged into channel 1. The cables from the 4QD DMR203 plug into, for the right hand motor, channel 2, and for the left hand motor, channel 3, with the blue wire being the signal wire. So there we have it. Channel 1, turret rotation. Channel 2, right hand motor. Channel 3, left hand motor. Channel 6 is turret elevation, and channel 7/8 is for power to the receiver. So let's see if we can get it working. First thing to do, switch on your transmitter. And we're on Tiger 312. Next, we'll switch on the main fuse box. Momentary press on the button. First, turret rotation, hopefully here. And we have turret rotation. Next, we have the drive motors. Right hand. And that's going well. Left. Reverse. They jump about, but you're really advised to secure these, but I'm just doing some gentle testing. So that's forward and reverse working. And let's try elevation. So that's all the motors working. So let's switch off for now. So first of all, we'll switch off the tank. And then we switch off the radio. For elevation, it's the rotary knob. It's channel 6. Channel 1, turret rotation. And channel 2 and 3, drive motors. In a future video, I hope to cover some of the more recent electronics in similar way to this. I have ordered the new brushless system for one of the other vehicles. To connect up the sound module, the cables going from the 4QD DMR203, rather than going to the receiver, are now going to the sound module on the first 2 pins, with the blue signal wires facing upwards. The wires going from the sound unit, the first wire is going to channel 2, the second to channel 3, and the third is going to channel 5. I'll now switch on the control unit, and now to go through the sounds I'm going to press the programming button. This will play a short piece of each sound. And that's all the sounds programmed. So now I switch it off and switch it back on again and see if I have control over them. It should be on channel 5. And that's sound on. So the power on. And the power off, 1 flick forward and back. For the gun, it's 4 forward. For the MG, 5 forward. To activate the sound, you just pull back. Let's see what's on 6. That'll be the anti-aircraft gun. On 7. On 8. Nine. 10. Something crashing through objects. And that's it. Let's see what it sounds like driving. The revving. This could be for turret rotation. Driving again. The sound will improve once I build a sound box. It's just a bare speaker at the moment. So let's just get the box back together. So that's the basic functions sorted. Next will be to get all of this equipment into the vehicle as tidily as I can. I'll be making a tray for the rear end, which should house most of the electronics. Did I have any problems with the electronics? Well, some. First of all, the set of batteries that I had allocated for this project, I'm not too sure they're good. They don't seem to be holding power. They're old batteries, so I've ordered a new set. And I've noticed that one of the batteries has a tiny crack in the case, so these batteries will be for destruction. I carried out the tests using the batteries from one of my other Tigers, and they're quite good. But new batteries should arrive today for this Tiger. Other problems? My DMR203 interface unit seems to be giving some problems. The DMR203. It did work initially, but then I tried switching on again and I had turret rotation, elevation, but no control over the motors. Plugging and unplugging and messing around with the controller did actually get movement again, but intermittent. So I did have a spare DMR203 for my STKFZ222, which I fitted, and it worked fine, perfectly now. So it's clearly the DMR203. It does help to have a couple of other vehicles available to pull parts from for testing. So I've narrowed the problem down to this unit. And I have put out a request on the forum to see if anybody has one available. Here we have the radio that I'm using. It's a Futaba T7C. It's got plenty of functions. I like to drive tanks on 2-stick operation. So it'll be forward, reverse, turret rotation will be on the right hand stick sideways, and hopefully turret elevation will be with this knob. I may have to change the channels around though to make that work. The sound system works from this lever here, and it's simply a case of, I think there's about maybe 12 sounds, and each sound is like a click forward. So to turn it on, it's push forward once and pull back to operate the sound. The main gun I think is on 3, so it's click forward 3 times and then pull back to make the main gun sound. One of the problems with this transmitter is the right hand is sprung, so it always centers, but the left hand is not. It's on kind of a ratchet system, which is a bit awkward. But I do have the parts to change this. I mentioned earlier regarding the radio transmitter that this is spring loaded and this one is not, it's ratcheted. And I want them to be similar. So I'm going to try to fix that now. This is the spring return kit for the Futaba T7C. The part number is Y-MA8036. First of all, we need to remove the back, which involves removing the battery as well. I'm removing the 4 screws here, 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 and here to remove the back plate. Here we have the back plate removed, and this is what's causing the ratcheting movement. So first of all, I'm going to remove this piece. I've removed the retaining screw, so we just pull this piece out. Now it's just moving freely. And here are the new parts from the kit. Having removed the ratchet mechanism, we'll now fit the spring on the other side. It's basically the same as the other side of the unit, except upside down. And you can see there's a cradle for it in here. It has to go underneath these bars, and these two prongs sit in the cradle. Now, it's in there. And here we have, this will retain one side of the spring. Next, this small piece fits into this cradle. It's already got a screw fitted. And we just screw that into place. The spring will then fit between the hook on the swing arm we've just fitted and the hook here. I'm just hooking the spring on to the upper tab, and now you can see where the spring fits. I've attached the spring to the end of the rocker arm and the other end just over this hook, and that provides the spring tension. I think some other radios don't require the kit, that they already have the spring fitted. It's just a case of removing the ratchet system. But in this case you need the kit as well. These are the parts we've removed. We don't need them anymore, but put them in the bag and put them in your case for storage. And you can see now on the other side, I've got the spring action both sides, so automatically self-centers. I've refitted the rear, so just need to reconnect the battery, and that's it done. So that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll just go over a little bit of what's going to happen in the next video. So in the next video, I've made a unit which will take most of the electronics. I'll show you that in more detail, how I fit the speakers, the sound system, and the other electronics. We'll find a nice neat way to fit them into the vehicle. I've also got the motors to fit and all the other electronics, and hopefully batteries will be here by then as well. Get them into the vehicle and do a full test. I'll get it jacked up and we'll test the track motion, make sure everything is adjusted correctly. We'll have a look at getting the correct track tension and get it ready for running. Thanks again for watching. I'll put up some videos at the end.